Hi, Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo and Transformational Astrology. Want to help you get your mojo back. And today is part 2, dose of Free Your Money Karma. Now, if you're joining me today, fantastic, and you didn't see the first part, I'll do a little recap. So essentially, we're going to talk about 3 secrets that can help you understand and transform a little bit your relationship to money and to start having more of it. Wouldn't that be nice? And it's not just about money. We're going to talk about karma as well today. And, having abundance and the money and financial stability that you want is really, excuse me, let me start over. I'm all choked up, folks. Hi, Wendy. So I'll start over and not choke. Having abundance, the money and financial stability that you want is not just about how much. There I go again. All right. I usually burst into song in the morning just to clear out the whatevers, the vapors. Okay. Hi, Samuel. Hey, Samuel. How's it going? All right. We're going to be talking about part 2 of Free Your Money Karma. Now, let me get back to it. Having abundance, the money and financial stability that you want is not just about how much you know about finances or how many hours that you work. Although that is important. I know it sounds crazy because you've been taught that the way to make money is by working hard, right? Or to get a college degree, to get a good job. And while that can be very important, it's not the entire picture, especially when you become more aware of your total abundance package, your wealth, health, passion, and purpose in life. So I'm going to share with you 3 secrets today. Shh, they're secrets. That will completely transform your ideas about money so you can stop the struggle and open the flow to abundance. Okay, wouldn't that be great? Hi, Christine. Glad you could make it. So what is stopping you from having? What is stopping you from having and attracting what you want? Now, there are 3 things that might be getting in your way. One, which we talked about in part 1 of Free Your Money Karma. 1 is your relationship to money, right? And 2, it's how you've been unconsciously taught to think and behave around money. And then 3, it's about the emotions that you feel when you have or don't have money. And that's more into the karmic territory. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, I'm terrible at making money, or it'll make me greedy or selfish, or I feel so guilty if I have more than others, or when I have it, I can't seem to keep it, right? Or it slips through my fingers, or it goes right out the window, or a big one for a lot of people, that it's not spiritual to want to have money, or to make money. So I'm going to show you a couple of things today on how you can attract abundance and get really great results, great results without the guilt and the negative feelings. Now, the recap is, in the first part of Free Your Money Karma, we talked about your relationship to money. That's the first secret, is your relationship to money. Do you have one? And what kind is it? Your relationship to money is no different than your relationship to a friend or a lover. Think about that. And this is really important because if you want to attract abundance and prosperity and flow, you must have a healthy relationship and a healthy, loving relationship with money. And I'm not saying that to make you think, oh, I have to, love it and I'm going to get greedy. No, that's not it at all. When I asked in the last event, if you were here or you saw the replay, and I wanted you to think back to your childhood and your first encounter with money. What was that like? Maybe you grew up hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees, or I'm not Rockefeller's daughter. That's what I heard. Or you have to beg, borrow, or steal to get ahead, right? So let me know in the comment section. What was we're just going to recap a little bit before we go forward. What was your initial introduction to money? And we're going to be doing a couple different little exercises too, so you can get a little clearer on what that is for you if you didn't see the first part. Okay, now the third karmic big secret is that, your relationship to money is not evil. Money is not evil. That's the big secret. Money is not evil, right? Number 2. And a lot of people will say, someone wrote in the comment section last time that she was taught that she wouldn't get into heaven if she wanted money. So this kinds of things that we're taught can be really damaging to our psyche, because it brings up our not the whole value system we have on ourselves, but also what we attribute to the dollar. So secret number 2 is money is not evil. That's it. Money is an energy. That's all it is, right? And money is neither good nor bad. It just is. And it's all about the energy that you give it. And the energy you give it is what determines your ability to attract it or repel it. So think about that too. Does that make sense? I want to know that this is making sense so we can get clear. So so let me show you this. And I want you to tell me what your reaction is, okay? And you might have done this last time. I'm going to show you something for 6 seconds, and you tell me in the comment section what's your first reaction. Now, if you saw this replay, or you were on the original first parter of Free Your Money Karma, maybe it's changed. So take a look at this image and let me know. What was your first reaction or response to that image? Okay, now, and put that down in the comment section. I would love to know so I can help you clear it up, and you can move forward with starting to attract more prosperity to you. Now, the second symbol I want you to take a look at is right here. What was that like for you? Whether you saw it in a replay, in the first part of Free Your Money Karma, or today for the first time, what's your initial response or reaction? Now, I want to show you something else, okay? Because it's going to be important to you to understand your, initial feeling state is important, all right? Now, you ready? Here's the next one. Let me get that microphone out of the way. What does that feel like? What does this feel like? And lastly, what does this one feel like? Oopsie. Joyce says I could use a lot of that. Well, aside from what the graphic looks like, what I'm looking for is what's the initial response you have to the dollar sign as it relates to your abundant quotient. Let's call it that. Because your attractor factor for things in life, right? It goes fast. Wonderful. It goes fast. I was standing behind a lady at 7-Eleven getting her lotto tickets checked. She won $100,000. I felt the energy of her win. It felt wow. And it was her win, but I felt it as well. That's what Christine said. Wow. That is a wow. That's a big wow. That in our house, we use the term wow, Brad, from the movie Family Stone. We like the phrase, wow, Brad. So when you have different reactions and responses to money, it can change over time, of course, and it needs to, so that it can get healthier. If you took a bookkeeping course, or you learned how to invest cash, or what we did was, and there's no shame in saying this, that after the market crash in real estate, my husband's a real estate investor and a copywriter and a marketing expert, we lost just about everything. And we decided from that point, and our daughter, what was that, in 2006? So our daughter was about 7 years old. And we said to her, listen, right now, we're not going to go extra. Some of the music lessons and the other things, we're just going to put on hold for now. Because what we didn't want to do was say to her things like, oh, yeah, we don't have the cash. We don't have the money. And we didn't really, but we knew we would be building it up again. So we didn't want to put things into her head like, we don't have enough. It's never enough. Because an impression like that in a young age, and you know what this feels like, right? An impression like that can leave a lasting impression. And so what we said was, right now we're just going to take a break from some classes, and we're just going to go easy and, not spend big. That's it. And that's what we said. And she accepted it. And she said, oh, I really like music class. And I said, yeah, well, we're just taking a break right now. Mom's got some other work to do, and so does Dad. And then we'll come back to it in a few months. And when I told that to the music teacher, who said she said, oh, I haven't heard from you in a month. Did you want to re-up the classes? And we told her, well, we just pretty much lost everything. And she said, you know what? You've been such a great client. I want to gift you a month for free. So Aaliyah got 4 free lessons, music lessons. And so we spread them out, and we got a gift. But we didn't go plummet into the, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? We can't pay our bill. We put a pause on things, and we thought, okay, to understand the relationship that we had to money, it wasn't just how do we make more and then invest it. It was what's the initial response to not having what we had a month prior. And we lost a lot of money. And I wasn't as nervous as my husband was, but because I knew it would come. But what we decided to do was to look at the framework of our, did we ignore things financially? So we understood bookkeeping more. We looked at financial planning more. We started to learn the language more of finances. My husband started to develop a new business in copywriting. So from that fall came an opening. So we just redirected. So I want you to keep that in mind if you go through tight spots where you don't have a lot of cash, okay? So, which is leading to now the third big secret is the ability to make money really is a direct reflection of how much you value yourself. Now we're getting into the karmic territory. And karma isn't good or bad. It's merely a harmonizing of energy. I've heard people talk about dharma, right? Have you heard dharma? Dharma is the path, and karma is the action or inaction or the attitude upon the path. That's what it is. And so if you look at your reaction or relationship when I hold up, money, different denominations of money or the symbol of money or the word of money. When I first did the money exercise for myself, the word money felt so masculine. And I thought that it's intimidating. And that was my initial, once I was able to articulate it, I realized I was intimidated by money. It felt masculine. It felt like you got to work hard. You got to keep going no matter what. You got to make that dollar so you can, pay your bills. And, what I was taught throughout my life was that, don't be a gypsy. You get a job, you stay in that job. And while you're in that job, you pay your bills and you save every penny you can, because my family came from poverty, literally poverty consciousness. So, my sister was the first one in our family to go to college. And, that's like a triumph for the era, the bygone era. But now it's not so much what I'd like you to do is look at, it's not so much what you want to do with the money. That comes later. It's focusing more on how you feel around it. Okay? Does that make sense? Just let me know in the comment section that this is making sense. So if you come from many moments in however many lifetimes of not valuing yourself, you will see debt in your life. Now, what do we do with that? That's the question. What do we do with that information? Well, looking at the money symbol, looking at the denominations of money, and if you listen to part 1 of Free Your Money Karma, I asked you to write down some words, some money words that you ascribe or assign to money and your finances. So if I were to say to you, okay, right now, 5 words that you think of when you think of money, what would they be? Is it reckless or guilt or relieved? Maybe it's humanitarianism or compassion, or not, you can say not enough, lost, resistant, manipulative. As I said, when I first did the money exercise, my word for money was intimidating because it felt masculine. And so over the years, as I worked with that, I looked at what am I avoiding? And so my second word was resistant. I was so resistant to actually having a relationship to money that I kept it at bay. Now, everyone will have a different karma to money. And again, karma is not good or bad. It's a harmonizing of energy. It's left over there. You have to pick it up again and finish. So whatever is not finished in your life, you will see the most of at some point or another, because you've ultimately you've been conditioned. Just everyone has been conditioned to believe that money and spirituality are like oil and water, that they don't mix, right? That I remember when I first started doing readings and giving workshops, I was living in New Jersey, and I found a holistic health store. And in the back of the store, there was a big space that was reserved for people who wanted to give talks. And so I gave a talk. I don't even remember what the talk was about. Probably on being kind, using compassion so that you can start to feel good about who you are and attract what you'd like to have and want in the world. And when the class was getting going and I was registering people, it was a nominal fee, maybe $30, $35. And a woman came into the store and she looked at the flyer and she said, "Are you leading this workshop?" I said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "Why are you charging any money?" She said, "You're a spiritual person. You shouldn't be charging money." And I just went, okay, well, that's your judgment. And that kind of judgment, if you have it, can lead to you not getting what you really want in life. And what's the connection? Flow. That's right. Christine says there's more where that came from. In and out, in and out. That's right. It's a constant flow. So when you have a judgment that you put on something, someone, an event, your own ability to make money, you might only ever go for a job where your money is capped. You can never make more, where they don't give bonuses, or you don't get dental, or there's no promotion, right? So, but you may not be aware of that. Right? I had a client once who only ever attracted, his father was a rageaholic. And so he was a beaten down kind of guy. And so wherever he went in the world, he attracted the same boss over and over and over again. And then when I pointed it out, he had a hard time. He fought it. And he even said, months later, he came back and he said, yeah, I really wanted to fight you on that. And I was like, well, deep down, you have a lot of anger. So what's the fight about? It's not about me. It's about your worth, right? So let's look at your worth. What do you believe you're worth? You might say, I'm worth $1 billion. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Well, you are. You are. But it's not just about money. Worth and value does not always equate to the dollar sign. But in our society, we look at what's this worth? You know, if you picked up, let's say you went into a store and you see this crystal and you are just like, okay, well, that's pretty. Yeah. You know, and it costs $2. And you go, yeah, that's pretty. You know, that's nice. And, you know, is it worth it to me? I don't know if I want to spend $2. It's only $2. You know, I might get it for the kids or, you know, but if you valued crystals above all else and you came into the store and you saw this and you went, $2, is that all? How many more do you have? I'll take them all. Load up the truck. You know, it all relates to what you value. And if you first and foremost do not value you, then everything that stems from that attitude is going to fall short of expectation. Now, again, everyone's karma is different. You might have come into this world to be supported because all you ever did was take care of everybody else. So you might think, well, I don't work a full-time job. You know, my spouse supports me or my family supports me, or I won the lottery and I am supported now by the universe. But I'll tell you, this has been documented throughout metaphysical time in current day. People who come from poverty consciousness, who win the lottery, they immediately find ways to spend that money. And so they don't keep that money. So it's not just how to manifest it, but it's how to see it, get it, keep it. Can you do that? Are you able to do that in all areas of your life? That's the big question mark. And there's no judgment if you can't. And that's the whole point of this conversation, right? That's why I'm here to help. And there's many other people. You can learn bookkeeping. You can learn finances. You can learn how to invest money. Someone on the thread last week said, oh, no one would give me a loan. But if you applied for a secured loan, that's your money. You don't spend it on anything. It goes right back into the bank because it's paying off your loan. Your money pays off your own loan. It's called a secured loan. And if you want to raise your level of credit, that's what you do. And it might take 6 months to a year, but you can raise your level of credit. When our daughter first started talking about, maybe she was 16 or 17, and we said, well, let's start building your credit, because the day Aaliyah turned 16, she was getting letters from banks. Oh, want to start, apply for a early teen credit card? It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about how people rack up debt, right? So we showed Aaliyah that it's as you make money and you put money into the bank, you can have a credit card, use that for emergencies. And during those emergencies, remember that you got to pay that money back. You have to pay it back. The card, here's one. The card itself is not magic money, right? And it's not magic money. And a friend of ours said that when they first introduced their kids, who are now in their 30s, but when they first introduced their kids to credit and money and that discussion, the one child, I guess he was 19 or something, he called his parents and he said, I just used the credit card. My friends and I had a little bit of a fender bender. I just needed it to get a rental car so I could get to work. And they were like, that's no problem, because it was a shared account as a teen account, right? Or he was 18 or 17 or something. And then the daughter said, I just used the credit card because there was a sale at Nordstrom's. And the mom said, yeah, no, that's not an emergency. So you have to really look at what you value and where you come from with what you want, who you are, how you would like to manifest, what karma means to you. And this whole thing about karma sometimes is people think that karma is destiny and destiny are both written in stone. They are not. Destiny is your spirit's destination. Karma is your choice of how would you like to get there. Now, if you've lived for years and years and years and just making money just to pay the bills, then there's an attitude adjustment that has to happen so that you can get beyond that. Would you agree? Let me know in the comment section, how are you actually feeling about money right now? Not, I don't have enough or I have to make more, but when you just think about it, like when you think about a friend or someone you really care about, or if you think about someone that you're afraid of, intimidated by, or someone you don't like, think of a person, personify money, make it a person, and tell me, what is that person like right now? What's that personality like? What would you say? Because now when I look at the dollar sign, I see it as a neutral symbol. I don't react to it in any way, shape, or form. But when I see the word money, itself, it is no longer, as our daughter would say, hella masculine or hella whatever. It's no longer intimidating to me. I look at it and I say, oh, I know you. I know you. I think Tom Hanks said that in Castaway. I know you. So as I develop my own life and my goals and what I want to do, finish my historical fiction books, I think, oh, what should I charge? And then I look at, well, what's the standard? What are people doing for ebooks in historical fiction? And so I look at the platform that's already laid out. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to strategizing a financial future. You talk to a financial planner, you say, this is how much money I have, this is how much I'd like to have in 5 years or in 10 years. Those are strategies for wealth building. What I'm talking about is overcoming your karmic debt, right? Free your money karma. And one of the best ways to do that is to get in touch with how much you value yourself, how much you value your input, your talents, your knowledge, and just existing. Do you value yourself enough to say, I know it'll come when I need it the most. I work for it. I work hard for it. That ingrained business is not easily released sometimes, unless you have a specific program, which is what I have developed, the Free Your Money Karma program, which I have many clients who've been in it and have prospered within 2 weeks, just by understanding through a step process of understanding who they are to money, what money is to them, what the karmic ramifications have been. Because deep down, you have a belief that if I make this money, I better do something positive with it. Oh, I better give extra at Christmas because some people don't have. All these judgments that we put on money and what we're supposed to do with it, instead of just looking at it like it's an energy. And not to be frivolous about it. No, not at all. What I'm saying is look at cash and your consciousness around cash. And one day, that consciousness leads to a lottery ticket and you go, oh, I just won $100,000. Now, what do you do with that cash? I used to ask my mom this question because although she had poverty consciousness, she worked really hard from the age of 15 until she was 70-something. She worked really hard as an employee. And she took that money and put it away. And she put it away and she put it away and left a little bit of change, which was a nice chunk of change for her daughters and her grandchildren. But yet the entire time she had the cash, and I mean, living modestly in a small house, her car was paid for, and, what she would go out to dinner or maybe buy some birthday presents. And that was it. Or doctor's bills. That's what it amounted to. A lot of doctor's bills in the end. But still believing in her head that something terrible was going to happen. So she better hang on to that money just in case. Because, and I would say, well, do you want to go on vacation? Do you want to put a new countertop in? Or no, it's okay. Yeah. So living with less than. Because again, if you heard the first talk, my mother lived through two house fires and lost everything. So the idea that she would lose it was constantly in front of her. So if you have this kind of consciousness, if you have this kind of energy that you put on money or having or stuff, then it's the kind of attitude that builds up and then blocks flow. We don't want to block flow. We want flow to flow. Where is flow? Where is she? All right. So what kind of words do you associate with money? What kind of feelings do you associate with cash? I want to see that in the comment box while I pull a happy card for everybody. La la, this is interstitial music. La 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 la. All right, relating to money, I'm asking the universe for a card for everyone who's on the call right now to free their money karma. How to free your money karma. Something you might need to focus on. Oh, okay. Stillness. I think I pulled that one last week too. Stillness. What happens when you get still? You stop rambling. You stop the chatter. You stop the nonsense. You stop the incessant blah that means nothing. You know, on the, oh, wait, let me just check the comments. Hang on. Christine says, I believe it will be there when I need it. It does always show up. If I try to think about it, it doesn't. Well, what I want you to do then is think about making it for yourself, because then you'll find some blockage. Oh, when I make it for myself, just for me, not for spending on bills or presents or birthday or holiday, when I make it just for me, how does that feel? Because that might bring up some resistance or some money words that you maybe are not fully aware of yet. Flow is great, but remember, debt can show up in different areas of your life. And that's the thing that is really important to understand. That when you become still, like the cards say, when you become still, you can get more in touch with what you really value about yourself, about your talents, what you put into the world. You know, in my course, Free Your Money Karma, the one thing that everyone was attracted to when they came into the program over the past several years, I've been doing it for about 7 years now, was that they thought it was all about money. And then again, the step down was not about money. For some people, a little bit, but for most people, not. And then they started to realize where their debt was. So you might have physical debt. Maybe your health is in debt. Maybe you're lacking something in a romantic relationship. Maybe you're lacking something in a spiritual connection and you're feeling lost. Maybe it's a career debt or a creative debt. There's 9 different types of karmic debt. And when you can identify what that means to you, then you can start to really overcome that karma and then apply everything you know about strategies about making money, about investing, about taking your earnings and, you know, dividing that money into 40% goes right into the bank, 30% gets paid to bills, 20% is left over for whatever, so then you start to disperse that money in that allotment. So I want you to think about that, how you really feel about cash and your consciousness around it. Ultimately, if you're happy and if you're happy and you have days that are not so happy, and you look around and you say, if I really needed something, I know it would come to me, like Christine says, great. That's beautiful. But I want you to go a step further. Now, I want you to imagine yourself not having anything. Not having anything. What happens then? Oh no, no car. Yikes. Not enough cash to last you the month. Then what's going to happen? And the anxiety will build. And remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined. So sometimes that energy prompts the healing. Okay. It pokes at the old wounds that say, I'm not enough, or there isn't enough, or I'm afraid. What if we lost everything? What would we do? My mother and I, before she passed away, we used to go to her favorite diner. And I picked her up one day, so about 3 years ago, and she said, go through your closets and see something in your kitchen that you don't want. And I was like, okay, because I did that every 3 months anyway. And I found an old pan, and my mother had some things, kitchen towels and measuring cups and some old glasses. And I said, what are we doing? And she said, there's a waitress at the diner where I work, and her house burnt down. And of course that triggered my mom because, she'd lived through 2 of those. And she said, I want to give her this box of stuff. And I said, well, that's beautiful. That's so thoughtful. So we went and we had lunch and we gave it to her. And my mom asked her, how are you doing? How are you doing with this? Did you find another place to live? And the woman said, actually, yes, because she checked off the right kind of insurance, had the right kind of insurance policy. She said, I checked off the box. Good thing I did, so that they're going to build me a new house. And my mother was so happy for her. And that came with the woman understanding insurance. My mom used to work in insurance. So when you look at what you know in life, you don't have to know everything. You really don't. There are people around you that can help you, people that can assist you. There are places online you can always check and say, I don't know enough about investing in, stocks or whatever the thing is. So again, the strategies they're secondary to the primary, which is about your self-worth, about your whole gig on, am I worth it? And how can I have more? Especially with money. You want to have more money? It's not that hard. Well, what can you do to have more money? You can sell off some stuff in your house, sell some old jewelry. Yeah, okay. How long will that last? You can do that. You can invest, get a certain kind of credit card that when you pay, you get money back. Okay, but how often are you going to use that credit card? And on what? And then you have a money plan. You look at your money plan. But deep down, every time you look at your bookkeeping or your taxes or anything related to finances, cash consciousness comes into play. And it's gonna push buttons in you, right? It's gonna trigger you, and you're gonna say, the old sentences. What are the old sentences? Oh, there's just not enough. Or I just don't like it. I wish we didn't have to use it. Or look at those rich people and they're the ones complaining. Pain is pain. Whether you have $1 million in the bank or not, pain is pain. And money can make life easier and it can make you happier, but it's not a negative. So if you start to put negative things on cash, I want you to catch yourself in that second and go, okay, wait a minute. Money's not evil. It's just an energy. And so what energy would you like to give it? What would you like to ascribe to cash? Let me hear from you in the comment section. What would you like to ascribe to cash? How about, hey, it's like an old friend. Come on in, have a cup of tea. That's how I look at money now. Money's an old friend. I know you. Come on in. Let's talk about stuff. What are you valuing these days? What's your currency? Currency is something we showed to our daughter when she was very young. And that was part of our parenting technique, was to find out our daughter's currency. And her currency were certain dolls or toys. So we would negotiate. Well, once you do this thing, of course you can play with your doll or your toy or whatever her currency was. And by taking that thing away temporarily, it showed her that, oh no, I could lose it unless I focus on what's healthy. And that was to give her time to adjust to growing toward what she really valued, what was important. When our daughter had trouble emoting feelings and would have a temper tantrum at the ages of 3 or 4 and would want to immediately go watch television. And I said, oh no, we're not going to numb ourselves with television and pretending that we don't feel what we're feeling. First, we're going to feel it. and let's talk about it. And, and she learned how to do that. And then you can go watch TV. So you don't want to anesthetize yourself around cash. Look at it, play with it, surround yourself with it could be $16 bills you have. Play with it. How does it feel? What do you want to do with it? You can make that money grow. That's the strategy of finances. You can put that in an investment and watch it grow. But before you get there, what is it that you actually feel? What's your relationship to money? What are the comments and questions that you have around, well, what if I lose it? Am I worthy? Can I get it back? Or I'm so annoyed with money. It's again, your relationship to money you can look at it as if money is a person. So let's do that, especially in this Mercury in retrograde in Pisces. We still have 2 weeks left, plus the post phase. And the Pisces energy is very profound right now with Mercury in Pisces, the Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and all of these aspects and angles in the universe. Remember, the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a cooperation so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, it's reflected in the heavens. It's called your astrological timing. What time is it? Well, maybe it's time for you to value yourself a little bit more. Maybe it's time for you to understand that if you have a belief in lack, but it's over there because you don't want to look at it because it scares you, that you bring it to the forefront and say, yeah, I do have that. I feel like there's not enough. I feel like I make it, it goes away. I feel like I have to work really hard, so hard that I'm tired. I work 2 jobs. And there's no judgment, there's no right, there's no wrong about any of this. It's becoming aware of the thoughts, the words you put on money and conscious cash relationship. What are they? Are you a penny pincher? Are you a saver? Do you hoard it, and then you just blow it because you just want to be free and feel rebellious? I have clients who have every single version of their version of a relationship to money. And, if it makes you sad, are you philanthropic? As it comes, you give it back because more is going to come. But then I want you to give some to yourself. How does that feel? And play, do a little exercise. We're going to do part 3, which will have a bigger exercise for you next week on Tuesday. But I want you to play between now and then. Play with your money words. What are they? Play with the idea of money. Play with money itself. You don't have to go out and buy anything. You don't have to spend it. But just look at your cash. Look at the denomination, the $20, the $10, the $5, the $1. If you have a $50, you go to the bank, you cash it, you're going to go grocery shopping, and they gave you a $50 bill, and you look at it and go, you seem foreign to me. That's foreign. I had one client who I had them do this exercise, and I laid out a $1, $5, a $10, all the way up to 100. And I said, no, 20, 50. And I said, look at these bills. What do you get? And with every one, it was a positive except the $50 bill. And I said, why? Why the 50? And he said, I'm not really sure, but it's just pissing me off. And I said, good. I want you to go and change your $100 bill for a couple more 50s. And I want you to sit with them on your desk every day as you work. And I want you to look at those, and I want you to start writing about those 50s. So our next session, he did, and he told me that it reminded him of his father. And he had an instance. He was 12 years old. His father came home. They had saved up a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of money. There was a $50 bill, and his father got angry, went out and spent it on liquor. And so you see, it had nothing to do with cash, but it then resulted in cash because my client would have a tough time spending money on himself. So when you look at the relationship you have to money, to all the different things that happen around cash, I mean, you can do this with anything in your life, but we're talking about how to free your money karma. Aren't you ready Wouldn't it feel good to just be free and say, it comes when I need it. I spend it on whatever, is appropriate, whatever I have to spend it on. And that you can make more. And then from that, you can start to give more. Because that's the whole point, really. Everyone is on this earth to serve. But service at the sake of yourself is called denial. And that leads to a whole lot of karmic caca. I think I'm going to create a course called Karmic Caca. We don't want that anymore. It's time to move forward so that as it comes to you, you can then share it. And then you can take some of that and enjoy life. That's what it's meant to do, really. If you have the wherewithal to enjoy being pampered, going on a vacation, having the things that you want, and it's okay to be materialistic. Why are people saying, oh, no? It's like, well, how much value would I put on this pen? Is it different than the $100 bill? I mean, what do you think? What's worth more to you? It depends on who you are and what you value. If you value that pen, there's no different than the $100 bill. Do you understand what I'm saying? That you need to be okay with it. Oh, good. I like that, Christine. Christine puts a $100 bill in her wallet to invite more. Invite more. Have a party. Say, oh, my $100 bill is lonely. It needs a mate and a family. So does that make sense? Please give me a thumbs up or a heart or comment in the box and let me know this is making sense to you. Because I want you to be able to feel freer around money by understanding first the words that you associate with money, the energy that's on those words. Is it a negative? Is it positive? Is it neutral? And then how to expand and blossom so that you can increase wealth, health, passion, and purpose all in one lifetime. That's the gig, folks. That's what I'm talking about. Free your money karma so you can have ka-ching. And then that ka-ching turns into, the local soccer team club, they need socks for the kids. And you feel so good buying those socks. You go to the local hospice center and the nurses there need erasers for the dry eraser board. And, you buy a bunch of, it's however you want to contribute is your gig. But the limitations that you put on having, on attracting and magnetizing to you, that's what I care about. That's what I want to know about so I can help you break that habit, change that pattern, free yourself. And again, in this Mercury in retrograde in Pisces, remember the planets aren't doing it to you, but your focus is now inward. It's going to be more ethereal, more magical. So I would encourage you to play with money. And I don't mean gamble it. I don't mean rip it up and burn it. I mean, take it out, touch it, feel it. What's your response to it? Look at it. Stick it back in your wallet. Straighten it out. Fold it neatly. Look at all the change you have from different countries. It doesn't have to be your own denomination and currency. It can be whatever it is to you and whatever it can be. It's about understanding and realizing that you can free your money karma. Because some of us come into this world with the idea that there's not going to be enough to go around, so I better get ahead. I better push people out of the way and get in front of the line. Top of the ladder. I better get there. Because they come from poverty or they come from wealth. And it's, you've seen movies and people talk about how kids with a lot of wealth, kids who grow up with a lot of wealth, they don't learn to appreciate what it's like to work hard. And that's important. Or they don't appreciate what money can do. Because they just have it and they spend it. We watched a PBS special a couple of years ago about recreating what it's like to live in the 1800s in Montana. And so I don't know how many families, maybe 5 or 6, 7 or 8 families volunteered for this show. And it was a 9-month program. And so they chronicled these people living in Montana in the wilderness. And they had to live as if they lived in the 1800s. So no spring mattresses, no bottled water, and some of them had families, they had kids. So it started out during the day. They had to chop wood, and they had to chop wood, and they had to chop wood because they were preparing for winter. And then the women prepared bread every day and a root cellar, and they had to cook and bake and store things in jars, and they had to get ready for everything. Now, one family was disqualified because they went into the next town and they found in the garbage was a spring. And they stuck it under their mattress because they were uncomfortable with the straw mattress that they had made. So couldn't do that. So they got the boot. And then when it was all over a year later, they interviewed the family. And now one family lived in California in a very rich part of town. And these girls were 16 and 17 at the time. So now they're 18 and 19 or something like that. And they were asked, what did you learn? What happened to you? And they said, it was really hard because we had to live without our jacuzzi and our friends and hanging out at the mall and then going, and our phones and our games and stuff. And then we had to work every day. And some of them were like, we had to work every day. Like, what is that? Ew. I had to work every day. I had to dig a root cellar and I had to plant bread. And one wife said, I just can't bake any more bread. I'd make it and it was gone. Make it and it was gone. And that's all they did. But these teens said, now we're back and we're bored. The mall isn't doing it for us. Our friends, they're, all they talk about is what they can buy. So this transformed their whole consciousness. Working hard helped them. Now they were looking for something else to do with their money. And that's where proper education and, structure and conscious awareness can do when you couple all that together. But we're starting at the beginning to free your money karma. Are you ready? Wouldn't that feel great? I say so. Okay, I'll be back next week with part 3 for your money karma and a really fantastic exercise for you to do to break those chains so that you can have what you'd like to attract. All right, be well, folks. Thanks for being here. Be sparkly. I'll see you next time.